Um, I need to talk to you today about cops. Um, this is going to be the other side of my conservatism. This is going to be the other side of me being, as some of my subscribers would call me, an Uncle Tom. You know, I hate my own people. I hate black people. You know. First of all, let me say this: that cops are very patriotic about being cops. Both the the good guys and the bad guys. It's kind of like being in the military. Military and cops have that in common, where they, become cops, and it's like going through the police academy and having your first arrest, and walking down the street with all that equipment on, and you know, um, everybody hates you for the right reason, and everybody likes you for the right reason. People respect you for the right reason. You know, either way, you can't be mad because the criminals hate you, the racists hate you, the women like you because you make them feel safe when you walk between them and a bunch of street people. Um, it's just one of them positions. And I do believe that cops take it more personal than they say they do when they're cops. They do. I believe the average cop at most, when he approaches the scene of an incident or a crime, he is more concerned about his authority. You called him and woke him up from him having an easy day. He got to come deal with your BS because somebody, you know, whether they shot a bullet through your window, or, your kid's missing, or whether you're having a domestic abuse, you're complaining about marijuana, something happening on your property, whatever the police call is. Unless it's unless there's a bloody man laying on the ground, or a bloody woman, better yet, unless there's an arrest to be made. When you make that call, what the first thing that upsets a cop is when he gets a police call and he knows that he can't just go down there and arrest the person. He's got to go there and, either the person, he already knows the person is going to act a certain way. And he already knows that, if he doesn't have a suspect the minute he gets the call, he knows that he'll probably leave the scene, go through a set of circumstances that he shouldn't have to go through, leave the scene of a crime, and make no arrests. Okay? So again, the first thing I want to say is that cops are very patriotic about being cops. Okay? And as someone who has practiced armed security and has had other jobs where I have to work side by side with cops, um, I've learned to like cops. I like cops. I really look up to them. I look up to cops like I look up to the soldiers of our country. Like I look up to all my cousins and brothers and in the Lord, and all my neighborhood friends, neighbors that are in the military, their families, you know what I mean? When they lose a soldier loved one, I feel their pain, you know what I mean? I feel like I lost someone cuz he's out there fighting for me because I ain't got the balls to do it. You know what I mean? I came this close to joining the military. Okay? I didn't do it. Then later on I came this close to being a cop. Didn't do it. My balls just wouldn't reach up to that level. And people talked me out of it because they were afraid that, I don't know. One person believed that, a good Christian woman that I know. I'm not going to mention how I know her, but she thought that I might have a temper, and if somebody rubbed me the wrong way, they'll get shot. I'll be one of them trigger happy cops. I think she was off her rocker. There's no way. I was afraid of guns when I first wanted to become a cop. I was afraid of guns. It wasn't me being afraid to shoot somebody. Afraid to not shoot somebody is what I was afraid of. If I need to shoot somebody, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel that if I have to pull my gun at all, you just got shot because I shouldn't have had to pull it. You just got shot. If that's the way I feel now. But I feel more confident, especially after going through armed security, working with state police. The Act 235, Lethal Weapons Training Act. You know, I had it for years. I let it expire because all my jobs after, we lost the contract with, um, the psychic ward hospital that we were working at. We worked side by side with Swissville police out in Wilkinsburg. And they brought all their DUIs and they brought all their drugged up people and their crazy people to us. And we had to work side by side with them. And there's always that cop that will come and BS with security. He'll waste an hour or a half an hour, BSing with security. And he's there in the lobby and people come in there and they see him strapped from shoulders down, from the shoulder to his hip. They see him strapped, ready for war. And he's sitting there, whether he's standing up or sitting down. Nobody wants to come in there and do the normal thing that they was intended on doing. They don't want to do that when there is a city cop, okay, a local cop. He's not a policeman. He's a cop. The cop is a community oriented police. That's what the word cop stands for. Okay? So there's the policeman, okay? And a policeman can be anybody from a rookie cop all the way to policemen that don't have to do, when I worked at the site in Wilkinsburg, I was considered property police. When I worked for UPMC, my superiors were property police. You had regular security, and then you had property police, okay? And these property police, a lot of them were either retired cops or they became police and then they decided to work for UPMC. UPMC hires police to do security. Okay? And all of our lieutenants and most of our captains were all registered police. Okay? They were police academy. Some of them were cops before they became property police. And believe it or not, depending on where you're at in the world, sometimes you make more money being a security officer, especially a property cop, than you do an actual policeman. Okay? But property police are strictly to the property. They don't they're allowed to leave the property, but only in a situation of a theft situation, or someone trying to commit suicide, or someone sick, somebody's being haunted by somebody else. They can go rendezvous with the actual city police and track this person down. I've seen it in action. Um, and I had a lot of fun working next to cops because of two reasons. One, because of that feeling of being safe, that feeling of all my homies got guns, you know, all my homies got tasers, pepper spray. I got pepper spray. All my homies sitting next to me, you know, what's up? What's up? You didn't know who I roll with? You know what I'm saying? I miss that. Well, I still have that, but not as much as I used to. When I was working at the hospital, when I was a property officer myself, you know, um, and many other security jobs I had, even working in the garages, you know, I worked in garages where there was always crime. And once I reported, them cops used to hang out there. They used to go get them some donuts and come back and hang out, in the garage, and, just hang out there. And they would leave, go do a call, and come back because they got stationed right there on that street. That was their jurisdiction at that moment. So for 6 hours out of my shift, I had a cop parked on my street because of some crazy girl, pulling her blouse up, acting stupid, okay, trying to rob, one of our booths or whatever, in the garage. But that's, all culture and all, society. That's all social I'm talking there. Like, these are things that happen when you are around cops enough. And this is going to sound strange, but as a black man, cops always dislike you before they like you. And a lot of people will disagree with me on this. As a black man, cops, and it's not just because you're black, but any white guy that there's black people on the job, and cops have to be there for some reason. Cops look at you as a black man a lot of times like, why are we here? Okay. And then, if a white man is in there and he's mouthy and street like, they don't like him either. When cops come around, they're looking at middle class people and middle class personalities, and they're looking for people that are very punctual in their behavior. Very sophisticated, very, very professional. Their mannerisms are very, very, very easy to predict. But when you come in there needing something, people don't know what you up to. Okay? But my experience with cops, even when I used to work out with cops, as faculty, in the gym. And they knew me from the neighborhood, They never arrested me for anything. They might have pulled me over a couple times on the highway for speeding or whatever, and then, I didn't get a ticket, and then the next thing you know, they're at the YMCA, and I got a membership because I'm faculty, just like they got a membership because they are working with the school board and that, and they got faculty, they're part faculty, so we're in there working out together, and I'm supposed to be on this lower level than them, right? But they always disliked me because they feel that when you're black, you're unpredictable. not just by the color of your skin, but because of your culture, because of your history in crime, your history in, being small compared to everybody else. You don't educate yourself. You don't protect yourself. You don't buy the kind of houses. You don't show responsibility in these things in the hood the way your white counterparts do. It's not the color of your skin. And I know this because every cop, whether they were at the hospital, whether they were at the site unit that I used to work at, Schumann Center, you know, wherever I went, okay, they always dislike a black man before they like him. But once they see that they can trust you, once they see that they have something in common with you, that you are more punctual than they expected, more, social and more giving and more sticking to the policies. You are more patriotic, and you got some, you know something about politics, and you're on the right side of politics, and you got all these things going for you. Just like if you're a Trump supporter, a lot of cops like Trump supporters. A lot of cops get along with me once they find out that, you know, I'm a Republican. Okay? Why? Because people who practice these things, these liberal attitudes, there's always violence somewhere in between there. Whether it's your gay lifestyle, you whatever reason you're aborting all these babies, whether it's your drinking habits, your drug habits, whatever. There's always reasons in there for there to be a police call here and there. And cops don't like that. Cops don't like that. And when I work with cops, a cop's favorite thing to do is rescue somebody. You know what I mean? That is their favorite thing to do, is rescue people. You know, their favorite thing to do is rescue people. Their favorite thing to do is not arrest people. Their favorite thing to do is not have to get rough with people and put their hands on people, use deadly force with people. They don't even want to touch you, let alone draw their gun on you, let alone draw a taser on you or have to pepper spray you. They really don't want to touch you at all. They're touchy about that. They don't want the disease. They don't want to have to touch you. If they have to touch you, they get mad. If you make them think that they might have to touch you, you get mad. And I've been around cops, and this is the stuff that they don't show on the news, but I've been around these cops, and they've hugged their victims. I remember a guy where, she had to be restrained. She couldn't just leave. And the officer that finally restrained her, and we all had to run in there and restrain her. She was taking us all, but we finally restrained her. And when they when this lady, and she was black, she said, "You hurt me. You hurt me." This white male police officer cried with her. And he said, "Sweetheart, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I need you. This is very serious. I need you to calm down. You run out there on them streets. We got no control over you. Anything could happen. You're in no predicament to be on those streets right now. We need you to stay here and let us help you." I went through this the other night. Okay, other people, they worry about, um, you know, what predicament we found the woman in. Other guys, where's her clothes? Did she have clothes on? Did you really find her naked? And all this kind of crap, dude. When this woman realizes the state that we found her in, she's going to remember. And when she realizes that we caught her in this situation, she's going to be very embarrassed and ashamed and unhappy with herself. People commit suicide over this stuff, this embarrassment. Had to deal with it again tonight. And I felt a little bit upset because I didn't know what was going on. All I know is I had to show up on the scene. And again, and I hope the other officers don't, spread that around. You know what I'm saying? When you're in this business, you get to see things you ain't supposed to be seeing, and if you're not careful, you might let your anger about politics and your anger about races and all like that go off on somebody. We had a meeting the other day, and I talked about how I came this close to putting my hands on some of the people that come into, my proximity. My placenity. What's the word? Come onto my property. Where I'm guarding. I've almost put my hands on people. I've almost pepper sprayed some people. I almost pinned some people down to the floor. They come in there acting a fool, and a guy like me, sometimes people come in there, they get mad because you're standing there. Now, they're trespassing, but you're like, okay, you're trespassing. Let us help you, and then, okay, you can come in here and ask for $1 or whatever. Use our restrooms, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you need to do, everything can't be free, bro, But then you got to go because you're trespassing. You're not a guest, And these guys come in there and, sticking up their middle fingers and stuff like that. We talked about that, how I just wanted to snatch this guy. Then he starts bothering the women, I know how these cops feel. And I've been in situations where the cops rolled up. I thought I had everything under control. Soon as this brother saw the cops, he started mouthing off and talking down to them like they wasn't squat. That stuff you see on, what is it? Blue Brothers. That show that comes on, I forget what it's called. It comes on Wednesdays. What's it called? It ain't called Blue Brothers. It ain't called Code Blue. I forget what it's called. It's something blue or blue something. But it's about a family of cops. That's where they got it from. Charles Bronson's Family of Cops. That's where they got it from. And there's this family who, they're all cops. They're detectives, police officers, the commissioner, okay, the former commissioner, the DA. They're all in the same family. And, sometimes that's the way it is. In real life, too. But, like I said, cops are patriotic. And, cops don't want to hurt anybody. They don't sign up to hurt anybody. They don't. Even the most racist of them, and they're in there. They are in there. I'm not gonna lie for, conservatives. I'm not gonna lie for Jesse Lee Peterson, Brandon Tatum, or anybody else that talks about cops. I'm not gonna lie for you and act like I'm so conservative I can't see the other side. I can see it, and I've been through it. Someone that's been friends with cops all my life, I go through it. I fear getting pulled over. I really do. When I was young, I didn't fear getting pulled over. I was like, ooh, I wonder what they do when they pull me over. I know what they do now when they pull me over. And a lot of times, cops will provoke you. In the real world. I'm not talking about hearing about George Floyd or Michael Brown or Trayvon Martin or any of them on the news. I'm talking about in your experience. Cops will provoke you when they show up to a scene angry. They're already pissed off when they showed up to the scene. Depending on what kind of call they get, they are ready, and I will admit, they are all ready to shoot somebody. They're all already ready to tase somebody, hurt somebody, because depending on how they answer that phone, depending on what they understand to be the situation, they're going to turn a suspect into a victim. If that suspect, especially if that suspect ain't careful, he's already trespassing, he's already done a crime, okay, he's already disrespectful to the, if he runs from the cops, he's being disrespectful. Cop showed up, ain't nobody no marathon runner in this group. These are fat donut eating, meat and potatoes eating chubby cops that gotta go home to their wives, hoping that their wives ain't cheating on them while they getting shot at, okay, with his chubby self. But it's not what you think. But it's not what you think either. It's not what you think. Cop haters. But cop lovers are not what you think either. Some cops do hate black people. They do. Some cops, there's two types of cops that hate black people. One is actual racists, and this includes white nationalists, KKK members in the police force, stuff like that. They don't necessarily know each other. They're not getting together, having meetings and all like that, but they became cops because they know that and this is not, and you'll never hear a conservative say this, but I'm going to say it. There are cops that are cops because they know that the majority of people that do crime where they're at are going to be black. Let me say it again. There are cops that became cops because they know that they're going to carry a gun. They know they're going to shoot somebody. And they know that the majority of the crime where they are becoming a cop are going to be black folks. Everybody is sick and tired of black folks. It ain't just because you black and their ancestors were slave traders. No, it's because, let's get real, everybody's sick and tired of black folks. People are sick and tired of people like me because they're sick and tired of thugs. They're sick and tired of black men, always saying that the white man owes them something, but yet they don't owe America nothing. Let me say it again. These cops are sick and tired of black people who keep saying that the white man owes them something, and the white man is mistreating them. But yet they don't know how to treat nobody. They don't even know how to treat black people, for God's sake. And they don't have any respect for anybody, including black people, including black cops. These people out there talking about white cops, white cops, white cops. Why are you shooting black cops? Oh, so it's not white. Scratch out that word white. You just hate cops. Because you ain't killing white cops. Because white cops don't waltz up in the ghetto unless they're in 2s, 4s, and 5s. Only a black cop will pull up in front of his house in the ghetto and take a shot in the back of the head. Only a black cop would pull up for work with his gun and that on his shoulder instead of down here where he can grab it right away and let some kid shoot him in the back of the head. White cops don't do that. White cops get out of a car in your neighborhood, they're not even going to pull up if they think y'all going to crowd around that car. They won't even come to the scene of the crime until all the other cop cars get there. Because they know you hate them. And they know that they'll kill you. They'll kill you before they know it. They know to kill you. If you pick up that gun and you squeeze the trigger and the cop knew that you didn't have no bullets in that gun, he'll still shoot you. And he's allowed to, because according to law, if you got a gun, you take a bullet. Because there could be one in the chamber. There could be one stuck in the circulation. Someone have a gun. Another one of my fears is me being out in public, like a mall or something, and one of these idiots walking there trying to be an active shooter, and I got my gun on me, and he a white man or a black man, whichever one, but he's the active shooter. I know this. I know that they'll get a description of the active shooter. He's white. He's taller than me, younger than me, built better than me. You know what I'm saying? He's, we got nothing in common. But they see me with a gun, in most cases, they'll just shoot me. And you'll hear it over the radio saying, we might have 2 active shooters. When they know I was pointing at the active shooter. I'm saving my own neck, and anybody that's running out of there with me, okay, so he don't see me and shoot me. I'm not going to let him shoot me when I'm armed too. But you know what? They walk in there and they see me with a little handgun. Boom. This is K5. I believe we actually have 2 active shooters. One's black, one's white. I have no doubt that they'll shoot me just for having a gun. They'll shoot me and say I was meddling in their business. They'll shoot me and say that they thought I was an active shooter when I could have saved lives if they hadn't shot me, And that's my fear, that I'm on one of these public streets one day and cops never stop. They see 2 black guys fighting, they never stop. But they see me with a gun, they'll pull over and just shoot me. Don't ask any questions. They don't say, hold up, drop the gun. They just boom. They don't know I'm the victim. I'm the one defending myself. That's my fear. I'm not saying that they have a habit of doing this. I'm saying that I have fear that they will. Because I'm going to say it again. Cops, there's 2 types of cops that we call racists in the police force. And I'm not talking about, this is separate from all your black folks that got shot. Okay, because all the cases vary. But there's cops that knew the tension was already in media. They became cops because of black folks. Brandon and a lot of my conservative buddies would disagree with me. But there's people out there who became cops because they knew that they would be hunting down and arresting black people. If they thought, they were already living in the country. But they didn't move to the city to become a city cop to make that money. They moved to the city because they have an agenda. I know a country boy in my last job that left to go to Washington, D.C. to be a cop. His country behind went to Chaz. And he was patriotic about it. He was excited about it. So let me get this straight. You want to leave here, and I had to almost take you in the office for some of your crazy, nasty jokes and your nasty ways of being sociable and being political. I almost had to pull you into HR. Your little country, hillbilly behind is going to Chaz? For what? But yet we dare say, like I said, this is the other side. We dare say that, no. Brandon and all you conservatives, you're wrong. Some cops, and I've worked with cops and I've seen this red-handed, okay? They red-handedly became cops. They were already hillbillies. They were already country boys. They don't know nothing about the city. They moved to the city. They claim they moved for the money. Yeah, that's icing on the cake. But they really moved here because the people that they are going to shoot and put in handcuffs are going to be the people that they don't allow in their neighborhood back home. Okay? No one's talking about this. No one's going to talk about that. But because of me hating on people that hate on cops and me hating on people that baby black people, I have to say this too. I want you to understand that I know the difference. I'm not so stupid, and I'm not so much of an Uncle Tom, and I'm not so much of a white man butt kisser that I don't know what's going on. I've seen this firsthand. I've caught many cops in the act. So you got cops, for whatever reason, some of them are former men of the KKK. Some of them practice white nationalism. You don't know that they're practicing this. I've seen cops get arrested and they never said a racist word. But when they got arrested and people tried to find a motive of why they got arrested for killing somebody, and a lot of times it wasn't a black man. It was a white man that they killed. But when they arrested this person, a cop, for what they called an act of terrorism in his own country, they found out that he was KKK. He was not only shooting black folks, he was shooting white folks that dare defend him. That would dare to expose him for who he really is. And I know this, okay? And then there's cops who are just simply middle-class Americans who want to use being a police officer as a stepping stone to other things. They want to go from being a police officer to a judge, and a lot of them have. They want to go from being a police officer to a magistrate, a constable, whatever. They want to just, they say they only want to be a police officer for 5 years, 10 years. Okay. their agenda is very pure. And it's just a stepping stone to other things. But then, as they get together with tension, and tension slaps them in the face. First day on the job, that they have to deal with an actual trespasser or a suspect. This brother going to get up in this cop's face and provoke him, or tried at least to provoke him. So now the tension is rising. He's starting to understand what these ghettos are like. He's starting to understand what these brown-skinned people are like. He's starting to learn something about, Spanish-speaking people, Latinos and Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. He's starting to learn something about African men and Haitian men and black men. I know cops that separate every form of blackness. They separate the blacks from the Africans and the Africans from the Haitians. They separate the Haitians from everybody. And they separate, they separate Puerto Ricans from Mexicans and Mexicans from Latinos. And, these cops learn this stuff more than I ever will. So they know what they're getting into when they go into certain communities. And this is not only defining people by their races and defining people by their neighborhoods, the cultures of their neighborhoods, and defining people by colors and gangs and all that stuff, is part of police tactics and education. It is. When I was going through even my lethal weapons training, and we were trained by state troopers when we were taking lethal weapons training, they taught us, and a lot of the black guys in the room, when they got their Act 235 license, you won't ever hear them complain anymore about why they always got to ask what color the person is, and what was he wearing when they, why they got to ask for a description. They won't say that no more, because they find out that it's part of not only being a constable, a security guard, a cop, a police officer, the FBI, my goodness, a social worker, a caseworker, parole officer. Everybody uses the colors, the races, gangs, clothing, attire, neighborhood, street numbers and addresses, cars, what corner of the neighborhood were they hanging out at, all this can get you shot because this is the way they do the math. You might be a guy like me and just happen to be there in that ghetto, okay? When chaos went down, cops show up, you're on the corner. Okay? That corner has a name. They got a code name for that corner. You got pulled into it. And some police, departments, they will immediately look at your license and ask you a few questions and release you. But one thing they never apologize for is arresting somebody that has nothing to do with the crime. And it happens all the time, and it happens to white people too, not just black people. Just as much. Okay? They'll arrest somebody for a crime and hold him there overnight. They did it to me. Arrest him for something that he did not do. And when they release you, there's no apology, not even a pack of crackers. Here, man, here's a pack of crackers for, when I ran away from home as a child, okay, they treated me real good. But as a grown adult, you won't even get a pack of crackers. They won't even let you use the restroom. I almost peed on myself in that joint. okay, over a simple traffic violation. Here I found out they were trying to link me to other people that had committed a crime around the time that they caught me speeding. And my car was a Cutlass Supreme. One of the suspects' car was a Cutlass Supreme. When they found out, we're talking about two totally different Cutlass Supremes. The colors match, but the year don't match. The looks of the cars don't match. They steal. Then later on, they came to my house again. Okay? And my wife called me on the phone. And I got there and I'm watching these guys. They was ready to jump on me, tase me, do whatever before I had a chance to say, "Oop, what did I do wrong, officer?" Okay? And some things I understand that they, are taking precautions, But see, all that doesn't bother me as much as, because I blame, when it comes to me being arrested for a crime that I didn't commit, as long as I ain't going to prison. But for me to have to spend an hour in jail for a crime that I didn't commit, actually a holding cell, I blame black people. I blame all these black people, these black men to be exact, who are out here doing this crap repeatedly, 24 hours a day in their neighborhood. And I happen to live nearby. I'm driving through. I get caught up in this mess just because I happen to be nearby, just because the suspect was bald-headed like me, or the suspect was short, or because the suspect had a blue car like I got a blue car, and I get arrested. And when they find out that I'm innocent, they say, "Oh, we're sorry." One cop will say he's sorry, but that's it. Or a lot of times they won't even say they're sorry. They'll just say, "You're free to go. You're free to go." And I've been in situations like that where they had me sit in a holding cell and then woke me up in the morning and said, "You're free to go." Okay. So you got the wrong guy, right? Same thing with pulling me over. And I'm not even speeding. Have me sitting there for almost an hour. They're trying to find something on me. They couldn't find it, so they finally come back almost an hour later and say, "You're free to go." So I'm late for work. I lost money because you couldn't find anything on me. I think every time a cop, if he's a rookie cop, he pays one fee. If he's a sergeant or a captain or a lieutenant, okay, he should pay even more. When you pull somebody over and if it shows up that they weren't speeding or speeding enough anyway for you to pull them over, when you arrest somebody, put your hands on somebody, tase somebody just because they were there, or, they trying to back you up and you tase them because you thought two of them was trying to attack you. You thought they was trying to help the suspect or whatever. They should pay a penalty for that. And I believe that with all my heart. I believe that cops should pay penalties. And I believe that we do need police reform. And I do believe that, although I don't really cry or show any remorse, I refuse to for black men getting shot. Even if he got shot 60 times running away from the cops. Okay? There was more going on there than racism. There was more going on there than, just shooting an unarmed black man 60 times. They're not telling you what really went on. But even so, it doesn't make me mad What makes me mad is that when you find out that black people are more diverse than that, when you arrest the wrong guy, when you show up and put your hands on the wrong guy, when you pull the wrong guy over, there's no apology. Waste my time, make me lose money, and then say, you're free to go. You're free to go. But I do believe that cops can be racist, and I believe that a lot of cops are racist. But it's not the racism that is making them shoot black folks. Okay? If the tables were turned and it was more Mexicans or more Asians doing what black people do, getting up in their face, getting smart, resisting arrest all the time, you know what I mean? And then you're going to try to run after you done kick the cop in the head or something. Like the one that tried to run after he tased the cop, his fellow partner officer shot him. Oh, you shouldn't have shot him. Well, you shouldn't have tased the officer. You know. But I do believe that there is a side of cops that can be racist, and that there are racist cops. Now, do I believe a whole precinct is racist? No. A whole precinct, depending on where it's located at, what state, city, county, and town, I do believe that, you know, there's cops out there that don't see enough black people in action except on the news and except in the movies. So they have this fear of black people. Wherever you show up peaceably, you are a threat because this white cop don't hang out with black people enough, okay? And vice versa. There's black folks that do the same thing. Because of what one cop did way out here, you think every cop, you about to get yourself shot. Cop knocks on your door, you going to argue with the cop, talk tough to him, and then try to go get your gun. Oh, you ain't got no warrant to come here. He can make a phone call and get a warrant, depending on what he's accusing you of. And he doesn't have to catch you with the evidence. All he got to do is accuse you and send that, you know, accusation to the DA or send it to the department, and they will issue a warrant for your arrest. Lastly, people don't realize how much power cops have. When they come around, they are your superiors. If you call a cop or somebody call a cop, whether you meant for that cop to be there or not, because you didn't call him or you called him or whatever, okay? He's in charge. You don't get to run. You don't get to argue. You don't get to get up in the cop's face. You don't get to put your hands on the cop. You don't get to struggle with the cop for his gun. You don't get to tase a cop with his own taser. You don't get to hit the cop in the face, spit in the cop's face, slam stuff around. You know what I mean? The cops show up and they're trying to break it up. You're going to keep fighting, like that video footage we just read where that cop almost got his butt whooped in a subway. And the lady cop couldn't handle a little tiny female girl. She was scared to really put her down on the ground and put her in a chokehold. She's afraid. But this kid was using MMA on this cop. And he almost had this cop in like a, what they call like a triangle. Okay? Or something like that. And the security to the subway, you know, finally chimed in and grabbed this kid, put him in a chokehold, you know, and got him down, you know. But that's another thing I want to close with. And this is why I'm doing this video right here. I noticed this, and I'm very ashamed of this, but I'm noticing that while all these black men are being shot by cops. And I'm saying this as a conservative. I'm saying this as an Uncle Tom. What gets me is while all these conservatives, I'm saying this as a conservative, while all these black men are getting shot by cops, and I justify them and take their case and stick up for them as a cop lover all the time. I always support our police. But why are all these white cops letting their black cop counterparts get shot? Why is it that you'll never see a black man shoot a black kid while he's running and put 60 rounds into him? Okay? Why is it that when, you have these black folks committing crime and just as many black cops show up at the scene as white cops? How come the white cops don't get to play? How come the black cops don't get to play hero? How come they don't get to shoot anybody? How come they don't get to put their neck in anybody, their knee in anybody's neck? And how come they don't get to put somebody in a chokehold until they say they can't breathe? How come you never see black cops in these situations, but yet black cops are getting killed more than anybody else? And my concern is the black cops that are getting killed. Now, when black cops are getting killed and they are like this situation we just saw, they're taking a beating that these white cops ain't even taking. Okay, to keep from tasing or shooting these black kids. That raises a big question. Okay? You know what I'm saying? When a black man points a gun at a white cop, all his black cop counterparts are surrounded with their guns drawn. One wrong move and he's out. But when a black man is being targeted by black folks, where's the white police presence? Where's the white police support? I noticed this. And I have to close because my computer's telling me I'm full. I went way over time. But thank you for watching. I am D-Roy Cruz. I am your Life Applications Officer. And I hope you found this enjoyable. I hope you've seen the other side here of what I've been saying all this time. Don't hate the cops, but hate the tension, is what I'm saying. Hate the tension. You can decrease the tension, and you can make the cops that come into your neighborhood with stereotypes about you, you can change those stereotypes. You can take control of those stereotypes and make those stereotypes wrong. Black people need to be more diverse, and they need to be more diverse in a good, godly, moral way. And they need to stop the anger and reduce the crime. And I guarantee you, the tension will change. It will. Okay? And we need to encourage, I do believe in reform, we need to encourage our police departments and our law enforcement agencies to set these cops in, like if you're KKK, if you have a bad history, you don't belong in the police department. If you're already angry and resentful, to the neighborhood, you're bad for the neighborhood, you're bad for the city, you don't need to be a cop. Just don't. So I do believe in police reform. I do believe that a lot of cops are coming in there with the same hatred that Black Lives Matter is already coming in there with. Just like we don't need Black Lives Matter, we don't need cops that are, KKK matters. You know what I'm saying? We don't need cops like that, but they do exist. And I've met them. I've been handcuffed by them. It's been revealed to me. But I still love cops, and I always will. I will always support our cops and our military, no matter what, because not of what they done wrong, but because of what their principle is supposed to stand for. God bless you. I'll talk to you soon.